If you think you're above the law, then you're a dumbhead. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video, and we will be discussing how stupid the current administration is handling the murder of 37-year-old Renee Good, who was subsequently killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday, January 7th, 2026. by an ICE agent named Jonathan Ross. We have identified the ICE agent as of now. It's Jonathan Ross. For me, it's telling me that ICE basically has all powers. So basically, there are no differences between ICE agents and regular law enforcement. But as you can see on the top left, right here, as you can see right here, we have a video being played out by CNN about JD Vance's meeting with a lot of these reporters. And you're going to absolutely see him basically lie to the media about everything. Let's get into the video.
First of all, the Department of Justice is going to investigate this. The Department of Homeland Security is already investigating this. But the simple fact is, what you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe against our law enforcement officers.
I don't understand what is his problem with connecting a tragedy with a political statement. Those two should not be mixed, JD Vance. You're literally the Vice President of the United States. You should basically state the truth. You're literally second in line to the president, which is Donald Trump, as of right now. And I'm kind of upset of how the vice president is handling this situation. Let's continue the video.
I think what is clearly happening here, and it's going to keep on happening unless the Democrats wake up and say, you know what, you don't have to agree with our immigration policies. You don't have to agree with what the president or the vice president believe about immigration enforcement. But why don't you take this to the ballot box? Why don't you vote? Why don't you organize? Instead, what some of them are doing is encouraging people to get violent with our law enforcement officials. It's disgraceful, and it's got to stop.
So the head of Minnesota's investigations agency says that the U.S. Attorney's Office has essentially cut off the state investigations agency's access to the investigation. What is the precedent for that, and why shouldn't the Minnesota officials on the ground have access and evidence to work on this investigation?
First of all, I wish the state officials in Minnesota would investigate why you have so many people who are using their vehicles and other means to actually interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The unprecedented thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity. I've never seen anything like that. It would get tossed out by a judge. So what I'd like Minnesota to focus on is the real issue that they're encouraging people. Minneapolis officials are encouraging people to commit violence against ICE officials. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Okay, so to reiterate what JD Vance stated in that, he basically believes that federal agents are entitled to absolute immunity, which I kind of call bullshit. Like, why would federal officials be rewarded with absolute immunity if they literally killed someone? I just don't understand the scope of this whole entire shit show. Anyways, let's continue the video.
Thank you. You said earlier that there's a left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and make it impossible for ICE officers to do their job. You told my colleague just now that there's an investigation going on into that network.
Yep.
So If everything that you say is true, how does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right there. Because what JD Vance stated is absolutely not true. When Jonathan Ross, basically the person that killed Renee Good, was trying to get around her car in order to talk with her, another ICE agent came up to the window trying to basically pull the door lever out of the Honda Pilot in order for her to basically stop and get out. Jonathan Ross came to the front left of the car and basically stated that Good can't move. She can't move. Good decided to basically reverse the car and turn to the right. Basically, she didn't hit Ross, but Ross decided to basically shoot her 3 times, which ended Good's life. I don't know what JD Vance is basically stating in this. It's absolutely a lie at this point. Continue the video.
By the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car, and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
I'm going to stop right here because I think JD Vance is basically summarizing this in the wrong way. He's basically making this tragedy that happened in Minneapolis yesterday into a political statement that basically entails that the quote-unquote radical left is propagating this in order to basically justify that ICE agents are killing people. Yes, the ICE agent in question, Jonathan Ross, kill Renee Good. But I can't see what the absolute bullshit JD Vance is talking about because he is talking absolute nonsense. So this is another video that we're gonna try and pop up, which is right here, about the situation, but also slowing down the video to make sure that the pure intent of the video is not gonna try to demonetize me or get me in trouble with YouTube. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. I don't want to have anything with the problems with YouTube. So I'll try and make this as safe as possible. Let's get in the video.
Because, of course, we know all that's a lie. We have multiple videos of the agent shooting Renee Good.
Right,
you can see for yourself that the allegation she was attempting some sort of ramming attack against an officer is just obviously and plainly untrue, and JD Vance knows it, of course. Here's one video moments before the shooting where you can see the agent, Jonathan Ross, circle around the car to position himself next to Good. Just seconds after that is when the other man approached the car trying to get her to leave. And you can see Good backing up the vehicle. And crucially, right before she is shot, you can see her wheels are turned to the right. The officer who shoots her is to the left, which means, as we all know, as we can all see, as we look at it, She was neither ramming the officer with her car or trying to ram the officer with her car, and she certainly did not run the officer over. Those are all lies, obviously.
Problem solved.
And it is this moment, with the wheels turned to the right to get away, to avoid the officer, with the officer to her left out of the way of the car, it is at this moment the first shot is fired from this angle, inches away from the woman's face. And at that moment, you can see, plain as day on your television screen right here, that Ross is not in the car's path. Moments later, he is now perpendicular to the car. Do you see him in profile there? Do you see his arms extended? Do you see the profile of his face? Is that a man who's in front of the car? And again, this was a frenetic situation. I do not know what was going through Mr. Ross's mind at the time. Even if he did perceive himself to be danger at first, and all this is happening quickly, and we're looking at frame by frame, even if he believed himself to be in danger at first, in that moment there, his arms extended into the window of the mother of three who's 37 years old. That is clearly no longer the case. Now that he is next to her vehicle, when he is firing two more shots through the open window directly into Renee Gold's face. And it is difficult to believe the administration's argument that these final two shots were in self-defense, the ones you see there, captured on your screen, when you see the armed man shooting in profile into the window from that position. Quite a few moments after he shoots Renee Good, ultimately killing her, we see the officer in question, Mr. Ross, follow after her vehicle, which is now crashed into another car and a utility pole. The agent walks over to her, seemingly unimpeded, which sure as heck contradicts the claim by the President of the United States that Good ran over Ross with her car, and that, and I quote him here, "It is hard to believe he is still alive." Is that true? Is it hard to believe he's still alive after he reached his arms into the car and fired off two shots at the woman's face? The investigation of this incident has been taken over by the Trump Department of Justice.
That's it. Of the expert that I will take. But I really want to make this clear to the Trump administration and to ICE agents. Whatever you do, follow the law as if it is either enacted by Trump or not enacted by Trump. There is no fine line in between. If you kill someone, you have to get charged because you killed someone and you're innocent until proven guilty. That's how it's handled in court. We know that Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent, was guilty. We know that. But both Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, basically stated that this guy will not get charged with murder. Which is telling me that the administration that is controlling what everything is in the United States of America is insanely corrupt. And they're not at their best standards. As you can see, I'm a little bit pissed off about the current situation because this was all caused by a video that was posted on December 26th by a man named Nick Shirley. If you guys haven't seen that video where I completely debunked the guy's journalism, which I'm going to put in quotes, you can click on the video that was linked down below. Hopefully you can watch it if you want to. But I stated that in that video, this could incite more violence instead of more good in Minneapolis. And what do we see? We saw a murder happen. This is telling me that the United States of America is starting to fall from a democracy to now, what is it? And I'll put that in quotes. What is it? I'm not calling it an autocracy. I'm not calling it tyranny. But we're transitioning from democracy to what the hell are we doing? hopefully that is enough of me yapping for today. I want to thank y'all for watching this video. Hope you subscribe to this channel in order to see more content like this. Also, thank you to those who have watched my videos in the past for recommending these videos to be pushed out more into the algorithm. And until next time, cook!